Y'all, I am sitting here with a queen. So I just want to you have to know you're a queen. Like, you have to know you hail from royalty when you show up to a podcast interview and say, okay, Jasmine, so this is what I was thinking to talk about. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Welcome to the podcast to show me how it's done. Topsy, queen.
What's
Okay, no, and
good?
I said, don't tell me, don't tell me. I said, we
You
have to
did.
record this.
You
So
did.
I want you to tell me what this podcast is going to be about. And then what I want to do is marry my questions
Yes.
and always go back to your thesis to make sure that you are served
Yeah.
well and you stand in your purpose and that I get to stand in my purpose as a podcast. So Queen, you tell me what this is about.
Oh my gosh, I love you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I am Topsie Vandenbosch. I am an emotional intelligence consultant and mindset coach for 6 and 7 figure business owners. And today I really wanted to talk about how mindset work is the foundation of doing emotional intelligence work. I think that emotional intelligence right now, a lot of y'all listening, it's a hot button topic. People are starting to really wake up and realize that brain based work is not something to poo poo at. This is the foundation of how you are building your business and honestly, how you operate in life. And so, if you're not aware about your feelings and your emotions and how you need to deal with them in order to get to the other side, it's going to be really difficult to really integrate emotional intelligence work into every facet of what you do. So, I'm really excited to talk about this today.
I'm so happy that you're here. So I'm gonna repeat what I heard, and that is
Yes.
mind work is the foundation to anything we do. And because here on the podcast, we're gonna really be focusing on how mind work, brain work is
Yes.
actually soul food. And this is going to guide us to where we need to go to start
Yes.
building businesses. Because you
Yes.
can listen to a million business podcasts. You probably listen
Absolutely.
to a lot of these episodes, but if we don't
Yes.
actually fix the foundation, you can learn
Mhm.
all the things and it's not going to change if we go from the inside out. So one of my first questions, and we go
Yes.
back to the thesis. We're going to go back to your
Perfect.
thesis, but just to make sure, because a lot of times, if like I know my folks are like me, it's like you hear like emotions are the foundation. And I'm like, oh no, no, no. We ain't here to pass around a box of like Kleenex to be like,
Right,
tell me how
period.
I feel. No, no, no.
Period.
We just
No.
want to know. So I'm going to get down to the root of where I think. So I want people to self qualify.
Yes.
Yo, is this episode for me? So, in
Yes.
your opinion, this is going to
Yeah.
pre qualify right here.
Yep.
What are some examples of toxic thought patterns that people right now, our
Ooh.
listeners, might
Ooh.
be experiencing? And so I'm
Ooh.
asking for toxic thought patterns that you
Yes.
think entrepreneurs are thinking right now. Because what you say, if anybody's listening and
Yeah.
starts slowly nodding their heads,
Uh-huh.
we're going to start knowing if this is the episode for you. So you tell me.
Yeah, so this episode, I think one of the toxic thought patterns that you might be thinking as you listen to this could be number one, I think I'm good on mindset. I think that we have talked about mindset to completion and I'm okay. I got my stuff together. I'm Gucci. You might be feeling like mindset work involves identifying and having to struggle with too many emotions. And you might feel like it distracts you from your purpose and that it distracts you from momentum. That's the other thing is a lot of people believe that doing mindset work means you're going to slow down and that
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. A lot of business owners, I'm sure a lot of you that are listening, it kind of feels like you have to put things on pause in order to deal with some of the emotions that come up that you are afraid to face. For some people, some of the other toxic thought patterns could be, you might be feeling like this is too time consuming. I'm trying to focus on getting bread. I'm trying to focus on making money. I don't got time to dig into emotions. That's for therapy. And I'm good after that. And the real therapy begins in what you implement outside of the therapy session. Because
Mm.
here's the thing, I am a retired clinical mental health therapist. I had my own in person private practice for 4 years. Before that, I've worked with every population underneath the sun. I've been a therapist for about 11 years now. And all the work happens outside of the session. The session, you might gain some aha moments. And if you have a mindset coach in your coaching sessions with them, you might gain some aha moments. But the real work starts into what you continue outside of there. And if you're not gaining more clarity on what you need to work on and what thought patterns and behaviors are holding you back from the success you desire, you're always going to find yourself back you're going to find yourself going back in time constantly, feeling like you take 20 steps forward, 20 steps back. You can stop that pattern by just addressing what you are afraid to address. That's where the work is. The work is in what you are avoiding.
Oh, hold up.
Period.
Hold up. Hey. Okay. So if we're talking about anybody's listening right now and what you're hearing is resistance to the idea of talking about or of spending time going deep into the episode. Now, I know that you do a lot of coaching.
Yes.
And you work with very successful
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. What are some thought patterns that entrepreneurs are experiencing? Because if I didn't get a head nod the first time, I'm about to get a head nod right here. What are some of those that you're saying? This is the trend that I see with entrepreneurs specifically. What are some of those toxic thought patterns?
Yes, self-sabotage, allowing for your worth to be tied to the results you produce. That is the story of a business owner. Right? If clients aren't getting results, what does that mean about me? What does that mean about my methods? Should I have charged $4,000 pay in full or $10,000? Is what I'm doing worth it if everyone isn't experiencing the results of the transformation that they paid for? I think there's a lot of looking for outside validation that you're doing a good job. You're wanting that good old boy pat on the back. You're doing good, girl, keep going, because we get a lot of that in corporate. So we don't realize that when we go into entrepreneurship, we still need to give ourselves positive reinforcement. You have to replace what is going to be missing when you leave the corporate world, because working for yourself ain't no joke. No one is waiting to give you feedback. You need to give that to yourself. You cannot fish for it from your clients. The testimonials in the world won't make you feel good if you don't feel good about what you have produced.
I'm sitting here, and if you are not watching this video, I look like a straight up like bobblehead, the kind of bobblehead you get from Dodgers Park. I'm just nodding right here. I was like, oh snap, we started here. So I want to slow it down again and repeat some of the patterns that Topsie sees with her clients. Your worth is tied to the results.
Yes. Your worth is tied to the results. You believe that if you're not receiving accolades, if you're not receiving the congrats, and if you're not getting told every day that your work transformed their lives, you wonder, do I even matter?
Does my work matter?
Does my work matter? Like this, that's the deep stuff. Am I allowed to cuss on your podcast?
Well, yes, because, and then we have two versions. We'll bleep out whatever. You be you. That's like I always invite people in. I invite people in.
Perfect, because I'm not kid friendly. So
there are littles. This is your warning. This is your warning, y'all. Put some headphones on.
We are grown here. No, but I think that it's really important to pay attention to your people-pleasing behaviors as well. That's something a lot of business owners still struggle with, even when they're making 7 figures. Here's the thing. There's a lot of talk about a 6 and 7 figure mindset, yada, 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 yada. Here's the thing is that the same behaviors I see in a person who is just starting out is often the same behaviors I'm seeing when they're making like hundreds of millions of dollars. It just is demonstrated differently, and it comes through differently. So the behaviors may not be the same, but it's still the same thought pattern. So for instance, if you are a person that feels as if you don't know enough information, or that there's someone else that does it better than you, and you never work on it, and that thought keeps following you as you continue to make more money, that thought pattern is still going to be with you even when you're making all the money, because money doesn't fix that. Money doesn't fix that. Money just enhances what's already there. So if you already don't feel significant, if you already feel like what you do isn't really that special, that's going to continue to follow you in some way, form, or fashion. It's just the behaviors just change.
So if there's somebody listening right now, it's not enough to know that the behavior or the thought patterns stay with you.
Yes.
What do you say to somebody?
Yeah. So basically what I believe that you need to do is you need to get real with yourself. You need to be willing to do the work. You need to interrupt the pattern. So when you find yourself in those same patterns of searching for validation from your clients or customers, searching for that moment where you feel like, yes, this is why I'm doing this, right? If you find yourself always trying to chase validation, always trying to chase the next thing, never completely feeling good about what you've created, even when you're not getting anything from the peanut gallery, that is going to be when you know that your self-confidence is getting built to where it needs to be. When we are searching for things outside of ourselves, when we're placing our success in the hands of strangers, right? A lot of us do it when we're like, am I ever going to get to that place? Oh, they must have it all figured out. Those thought patterns continue to follow you until you're able to get real with yourself and say, what am I struggling with? Jealousy? Name the feeling. Jealousy, envy, those are emotions people don't like to talk about because it doesn't sound good. But I will say it is good. It's good to feel those things because
So
yeah.
No, finish, please.
I was just going to say, we are meant to feel the full spectrum of emotions. A lot of the time, the reason why we're struggling so hard is because we feel so much shame. We feel so much shame for even feeling that in the first place. So then what do? We get stuck in the same patterns of behavior because we just feel like there's something wrong with me. My thoughts must be the truth. That's something else that business owners struggle with, is treating their thoughts as if they're automatically the truth, or their feelings as if, well, I feel this, so that must be true. If I feel like an imposter, that must mean that I am an imposter, right?
So I want to get super practical before I go, because you're just dropping so many bombs.
I know.
This is good. This is great. So I want to pause because the goal of the podcast is action through practicality.
Yes.
So when you say to stop the thought pattern,
Yeah.
and then there's somebody who's saying, oh, must be nice to think, I am worthy to be teaching, or how I teach is really unique. And then if you were to stop the thought pattern, from the opposite of that, like it being negative, like I'm not worthy, somebody does it better, somebody's been doing it longer, somebody's better looking, somebody's richer, whatever. To stop the pattern, it's not enough to say the opposite, right? It's not enough to say I am worthy, because you don't just think that.
No.
How does somebody get to unearthing the underlying emotion?
Yeah, the underlying emotion. It's being honest about what is it that you're actually fearing. Do you fear that you're not worthy, or that your work is not important? So I believe that the first step is identifying, what is it that I'm actually feeling? What is the underlying emotion that I'm not willing to say, but I'm trying to self-soothe by saying things such as, I don't know whether I'm worthy. What is the actual feeling? The actual feeling could be, I'm disappointed in myself. The actual feeling could be, I'm afraid. The actual feeling could be, what if I never get to that pinnacle of success that I've been hoping for? We have to name the feeling. Is it jealousy? Is it envy? Is it resentment?
Would you suggest, because I'm like, then the next thought, I always like to have a podcast like lay out like a court case, right? So you are presenting a case. So if somebody says, I'm thinking these toxic thoughts, and then you say to ask yourself to identify, and do you suggest somebody just being like, is it envy? Is it lack? Is it want? And then how does somebody know that, oh, I found it? It isn't unworthiness. How do they know when they find their thing?
How do they know when they find their thing? So you have to put your thoughts on trial. So I love that you said a court case, presenting it as a court case. So how do you know is you think like you really, sometimes it's really helpful to look at because a lot of entrepreneurs, we are very intellectual, but we don't drop into feelings. Look at a feeling.
Stop calling me out. Stop. You don't know me.
Period.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at a feelings chart. Look at a feelings chart. Literally, look at the faces. It's like what they show kindergartners, what they show children of how to identify emotions. Does that fit the way it is you're feeling right now? Is that the underlying emotion? What's actually the truth? And you have to trust yourself. So a lot of business owners, we need to trust ourselves. So if we are feeling like, I don't know whether I'm ever going to reach that place in my business, but I wish I had the same, career trajectory or the same following or the same engagement that this person has, maybe you're feeling envy. Look at the definition of envy. Sometimes we need to get granular and be willing to go there, even if we feel silly. So if you are unsure of the feeling, go and Google a feelings chart. Look at the definition of that feeling and get honest. So I like to look at, when you're looking at toxic thought patterns, you need to put your thoughts on trial. Put your thoughts on trial. What is it that I'm actually feeling? Okay. Or what is the fear? What's the situation? What happened? What is the feeling that I'm feeling? Okay. You can look at feelings charts to determine that. What's the evidence for what I'm feeling? So if what you're feeling and your thought is that you're nervous, that I'm just going to throw something out there. You're nervous that you won't ever have that 10K month. I'm just going to throw that out as an example, because I'm sure that appeals to so many people in your audience. If that's the thought, what is the feeling? The feeling is I'm scared. The feeling is I'm terrified. Perfect. Now we know that. What's the evidence for the thought that you're never going to reach your 10K month? Where did you get that from? Who told you that?
And then if the thought is, well, it hasn't happened before.
So what is the evidence against the thought? Well, the evidence against that thought that you'll never reach your 10K month is you've never done it before. How can you say for sure that you will never reach that? What evidence proves that you're not busting your ass to get to that place? Where's the evidence that shows that it's never going to happen for you? Do you have a crystal ball? Did you overnight become Jesus and I didn't realize it? How do you know that? A lot of the time, there are mindset struggles because we are too busy trying to project into the future. We're too busy trying to guess things. And we also treat our thoughts and our feelings as if that's the truth. Because I feel it, that must be true.
And it's not.
It's not. It's not. So look at the evidence for the thought you have, which is, it'll probably be, you don't know what you're talking about. You're too busy looking at what everyone else is doing online and not paying enough attention and giving enough love to what it is that you do well at, right? You're projecting already into the future and your focus is becoming on the wrong thing. So if 10K months is what the fear is that you'll never reach that, why is that your main goal? What about your passion? What about your mission? You're disconnected from your why. So identifying the thought, identifying the feeling, put yourself on the stand. What's the evidence for the thought you have? There's no evidence. All right, move on to what's the evidence against the thought that you have? The evidence against the thought is that you've been busting your butt. You've been doing this for a long time. You have loyal clients. You have testimonials. You keep chugging along. You're still making money. Doesn't matter whether it's 10K or whatever K. If you're not happy at 5K, you're not going to be happy at 10K. I'm just going to tell you that.
No, you won't.
Because it's never enough. So money, recurring revenue, all of these hot button topics that business owners desire and want and will stab each other in the back for sometimes, that does not fulfill you. You fulfill you.
So we get real here. We get real.
I love it.
So I'm going to ask you a question. And if you're not cool answering.
Oh, this is going to be good. I'm excited.
Well, you gave us an example of the 10K month, which is going to resonate with a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
What about, I'm going to ask you if you've ever struggled with toxic thought patterns around one thing. And then can you walk us through your process?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Oh, I love getting real. Yes. Okay. Here's the thing is, if y'all follow me, I don't do the pedestal thing. I don't do the guru culture. I'm the same as you. You know how it is. You know how it is. There's a lot of posturing that happens. And then people feel like they're alone in what they're struggling with. So anyway, for me, it was transitioning from being a clinical therapist and working with business owners at the time and, career and ambitious focused women struggling with depression and anxiety. I had a full booked out practice, very, very successful. had great life. And I was building my coaching business online on the side. And for me, my toxic thought pattern was that there are already so many mindset coaches. What the hell is going to set me apart?
Mm.
And that was when I got in the online space in 2017. It was probably one of the most difficult times in my life. I had to work with my own mindset coach and I had a therapist for about a year and a half. And selling was really difficult for me because I was just very used to not having to do a lot of that. Like, it's just, entrepreneurship, and especially online based entrepreneurship, is a different beast to tackle. But I was very afraid that I was no different than anyone else, that there was nothing that set me apart and made me unique. I remember feeling like I was just in this void, and nobody, what was going to make someone want to that's what I thought, what was going to make someone want to invest in me versus another person that identified as a mindset coach. And I just remember feeling very lost. And so what I needed to do was, number one, I needed to get honest with myself about my ego. I was
Okay.
allowing my ego to really dictate what I saw as success. So
Mm.
my ego told me, you've built this private practice. You're a bomb therapist. Everyone loves you. So you being a coach and a consultant, piece of cake. Literally, that was what I thought.
Okay.
It was the ego of, I have an incredible business. I'm not new to this rodeo,
Okay.
and it was a lot of ego. And I have a loud personality. Y'all, I mean, I'm sure y'all can tell. I am very unapologetically myself. Period. I don't apologize for who I am. I love Jesus. I twerk and I cuss a lot. I remember telling my parents that on period. I remember telling my parents that. They asked me if they could attend my retreat. Bless their hearts. I'm hosting a retreat this year. It's going to be in a mansion. It's going to be bougie. There's a bunch of us in this emotional intelligence leadership weekend, and I sold it out. And my parents were like, "We're just so proud of you. Can we come?" I said, "Wait." Because my parents are conservative Christians. I said, look, I'm grown.
We're gonna have to give mom and daddy some
We do.
some podcast preload. It's like put some
Hilarious.
earbuds in.
Hilarious. But yes, I had to get real with my ego. I had to really get honest with myself about what, Topsy, relax, relax. Okay. Stop acting like people just should know about you. They don't know you. And so you need to educate them about you. Get humble. It forced me to get humble.
Okay. So I only ever coach
Yeah.
with something I do, and I only ever ask of something I would be willing to do.
Yes.
So a negative, like a toxic thought that has risen up quite a bit over the past 2 years
Yeah.
is starting a SaaS company. Social Curator is a SaaS company. I didn't even know I was starting a SaaS company when we started. I didn't even know what that word was.
Yes.
You don't know it's software as a service. Like, you
That's
have
what
your own tech stack. Like, you have a group of developers. So the
Yep.
toxic thought was, who am I to do this? Like, I have no experience. How can I be a founder of a tech company when I don't code? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that the biggest shift for me has unfolded in what you had said, to find evidence of the contrary.
Yes.
And as a law school dropout, I started stacking up evidence. Like, if I don't know, I'll figure it out.
Period.
What's the worst case that can happen?
Yes.
Do I have the capacity to learn something new? And all of it started coming to be like, yes, it is. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And have I fallen on my face and got my guts punched out and like black eyes? Yes. But I'm following exactly the stuff that you prescribe. So we've walked through. Now, if you can, let's go back to where we started. Can you state the thesis? You said, Jasmine, I want to show up and I want to talk about this. Can you state that just one more time as we start like tying this up with the bow, because you have been under promising and over delivering.
Oh
so
my God. You're so welcome. Yes, of course. How mindset work is the foundation of doing emotional intelligence work.
Okay. So one of my questions was, how can we sell and market with emotional intelligence? And here's why. You wrote something on Instagram, and I'm gonna read it real quick. Let's face it. Selling and marketing with emotional intelligence is a skill, one that not everyone is naturally gifted at.
Yes.
So if we know that people are not naturally gifted with that emotional intelligence, how then can we sell and market with emotional intelligence?
Yes. Number one, this is really interesting. So, by the time I'm sure this gets premiered, this masterclass would have been done, workshop. But
Okay.
me and a one-on-one client, we're hosting a workshop tomorrow, and it's all about ethical sales and marketing and how to do it with emotional intelligence. So here's what I will say. I will say that, first of all, you have to learn what are the norms and the ethical ways of selling and marketing that are evidence based. So when we have that foundation, we can feel confident to be able to sell in a way that feels good to us and good to our ideal client. And it
Mm,
involves using core emotional intelligence skills to be able to do it. But here's what I will say. So when it comes to selling with emotional intelligence, I'll talk about it in general. What does that look like? It looks like being honest about what it is that you're selling and not trying to use psychological manipulation to get people to buy from you, which is what a lot of selling involves. And this isn't a judgment, by the way. We all have done it or participated in it in some way. Many of us have. And it's about getting honest with your intentions, even. So when it comes to selling and marketing with emotional intelligence, it isn't just simple. It involves you using emotions to really determine the way in which you want your ideal client to buy. So where do you want them to buy from? Do you want them to buy from FOMO? I know in my business, I don't like that, because when clients are buying from just FOMO, those be the ones that stress you the hell out.
that's true.
Those be the people asking for the refunds. Those be the people with the buyer's remorse. Not all the time, not all the time. Okay. I have bought from FOMO and I haven't done those things, but I will say you can find yourself in those traps.
Hmm.
And so when you sell with emotional intelligence, you're selling it using and understanding the impact, the way in which you sell and market is going to have on your ideal client. You're taking that into consideration, and that's at the forefront of your mind.
Mm. So, like when you host these master classes and you do, so for instance, like when you bring on a new round of coaching clients,
Yeah.
how then are you selling? Like if somebody is like fact based and this is the
Yes.
thing that I do, like what show, like give me an example, like how does this actually work? Because I'm
Yes.
assuming, and I could be wrong,
Yeah. No,
I'm
this is good.
assuming that you have a pretty considerable ticket offer,
Yeah,
right?
I
So that
do.
it's not for everybody.
No, no,
So
no.
for somebody, it's like it's going to be a pretty significant investment. How then do you do it with integrity without
Yes.
inciting the FOMO, which is very traditional in digital marketing?
And and I'm not saying, and this is why we wanted to do the masterclass, because it's not black and white. It's not that there
Mm,
isn't going to be FOMO,
right.
because people are going to, we can't make you feel that. You have to already feel that on your own. It's just the selling process can enhance it even more, especially if it's something that people are wanting, but they don't feel like they can afford. There's so many reasons why people feel
Yeah.
FOMO. So I will say the way in which I sell with integrity and emotional intelligence, and I'm not perfect, and this is an ongoing journey, but I am blunt, y'all. I'm blunt.
I
I
like
don't
that.
do all of those. Like, look, I'm just gonna keep it 100. I don't have time to go back and forth with anybody in the DMs all goddamn day. If you want in, here is what you need to know. I'm gonna serve the hell out of you. I'm going to show you exactly what it is you're gonna receive. I'm gonna be very clear about what I can and what I can't do. I know my boundaries, I know my expertise. I will refer you out if I don't feel like this is within my scope. I don't do the whole like, like you need to get back to me in a certain amount of time, other and not being honest about it. So I don't do the whole like one spot left and there really isn't one spot left. I'm very direct. Look, come to me when you're ready. I have lots of people that I've told them that, and they have. So there's a way that you can sell that feels really good, that allows for your client to know your boundaries and to know what they're going to receive without you needing to be out of integrity and or creating unnecessary emotions within your ideal client that they don't need to be feeling. Because sometimes when we sell and market, there are many of us that just be lying. You don't need to do that. Just be direct. People can handle it. Trust that your ideal client knows what they need.
Why do you think
Period.
why do you think people lie? Not, and here's the thing. And Topsy, I'm going to come out and say, I do not believe that the vast majority of people who are, it's not like a lie. It's not like
No, no,
deceitful,
no, no,
not
no,
at all.
no,
But we do know
no.
there's like a bit of stretching of the
There
truth. That's like,
is.
that's not so.
Right.
Why? Like what emotion, what undercurrent, what is triggering the stretching of truth?
Scarcity. Scarcity. I think that is the fear that people aren't going to get in. So no, I don't believe that everyone lies, but there are some people that they use the knowledge of what people and humans feel and the process that we go through to get us to make a decision faster.
Mm.
I don't believe it's rooted in wanting to screw people over. I don't believe that either. I believe that it's from the fear that what if I don't hit my revenue goals, then what? What if I can't afford to pay my team? Then what? I got bills. I got things I need to do, right? I want to sell this offer. I've spent this amount of time. It's also the feeling of wanting to be compensated for the time you've spent creating something. So there's that attachment. And we've made it personal then.
Mm.
It becomes a personal thing. This stuff is deep.
Mm. So I'm going to tap here as we tie it up.
Yes.
Because the idea was the brain work is the soul food.
Yes.
And so if we go at what Topsy just hit on, I just want to it is an anvil of truth.
Yeah.
Is that very often we as entrepreneurs do not set out to be deceitful.
No,
but
no,
then there's
no.
this clouding process of the
Yeah.
time and emotional attachment that you have to a product or service.
Yes.
And when it comes to selling and marketing of it, you immediately will defend
Yes. Yeah.
the reasons why you do it because
Absolutely.
your children, your partner,
Yes.
your side hustle,
Yeah.
people watching. And although your intentions are well intended,
Yep.
oftentimes we
Yep.
blur the lines.
We do. Yeah.
And so we're going to go back to the foundation
Yeah.
of why we started the work to begin with. If we
Yes.
can identify on the outset that there is underlying emotions of what's
Yes.
truly happening here,
Yes.
fear, doubt,
Yes.
insecurities, so that when we actually, and we address and we get those and we understand that and we harness back and we settle that
Yes.
case and we
Yes.
prove ourselves wrong
There
all
we
the
go.
time. And then when we make the offer, we can stand with our head held high by saying, this is what I do.
Yes.
This is who I am.
Yep.
Take it or leave it, because you know that the dollar does not defend any lack of integrity.
There we go. There we go.
Did I get it right, Topsy?
You just wrapped that up in such a bow. I believe that mindset work is a combination of body-based work, brain-based work, and behavior-based work. And that's it. That's it, y'all. You know, there's no judgment here. I understand humans. I've been a therapist for 11 years. I get it. I understand it. And we get to operate differently. This was beautiful.
Topsy. Okay, this is like, I can't even say it's like the tip of the iceberg. It's actually like an ice cube floating far outside of the iceberg. And people like, we want to get to that. We want to get to you. How can people find you, connect with you, learn more about what it is that you do?
Yes. Go to my website, www.topsievandenbosch.com. That will be in the show notes. And I am most active. Can you tell I've been on lots of podcasts?
I was like, Vandenbosch. Oh my gosh. Okay. People are going to freak out. No. Show notes, folks. Show notes.
Show notes. And then I am active on Instagram, guys. I'm always acting.
Yes, you are.
I'm acting a nut on stories. I love to have fun. You'll see me twerking. I start my lives out twerking a lot just to kind of get out the nervousness for a lot of people, because people think mindset work needs to be all deep and sad. No, we can have a good time. So I'm always on Instagram at Topsie Vandenbosch, and I can't wait to connect to you. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, Jasmine. This was amazing.
I adore you. Thank you for standing in your purpose and sharing your power so generously. My hope and prayer is that a wave of goodness comes to you, because what you're seeding out is goodness. I hope you see the reflection of the goodness you're putting out in the world. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.